Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. Whew. Welcome to Sex with Robin on Split Radio. Split, by the way, standing for Sex Positive Lifestyle Inclusive Talk Radio. So we're sex positive, we're inclusive. Mandy and I put this platform together. That's what it is. It is definitely a Monday. Full disclosure here, honestly, I had a very, very, very rough mental health day yesterday. So I am like quite depleted and exhausted. I think you'll probably hear it in my voice that it's like a little raw. I was doing a lot of hyperventilating, so my voice is my throat's a little bit sore. So yeah, just PSA. Like I'm not going to go into details, but PSA, like triggers are an actual thing, and it really, really, really fucking bothers me when people use the word trigger like a joke or to be like if they're just generally upset about something when they're like, oh my god, I'm so triggered, and I want to actually punch you in the fucking face and be like, dude, you haven't, if you're going to use a phrase like that, you clearly have no idea what that is actually like and how real it is. I'm going to go off that topic. I had to say that, like, if you make the joke, please stop. And if you catch someone making that joke, if you're able to, you have the emotional labor and you're in a safe place, please be like, you know what? That's actually kind of fucked up, buddy. That's my PSA for the day. But that's not what we're here to talk about. This is Sex with Robin. We usually talk about things like sex, kink, dating, any and all of that good shit. My name is Robin Beach. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a former, I was going to say, I almost fucked up the order again. A former stripper, former prodom, former nurse with experience in cardiology, psychology, and sexual health. Uh, I am now a sex educator, coach, and consultant. Honestly, just message me if you ever have like a question here or there. On my social medias at Sex with Robin, you can always just message me with a question and I'm happy to answer. If it's something that's going to be like an hour plus long discussion or lesson, I do ask for some form of compensation. I am very much like pay what you can. I also offer skill shares and stuff like that. I try to be financially accessible. So that's who I am. I'm located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast Salish and Musqueam Indigenous tribes, colonially known as Vancouver, Canada. And yeah, we're here. We're here every Monday. I got Pete the zombie, who's just chilling. He's still wearing his party hat from Mandy Conant's birthday. Happy birthday, Mandy. Uh, we had a lot of fun playing games and stuff. Have I even told you what today's topic is? I do apologize. I have not been doing well with the promos and the posting and social media this week. I totally sucked at that again, like bad just mental health time in general, and I was like just didn't have the energy. I have not been on my phone very much. I haven't been texting very much, but I am back to work Monday. I'm determined, so I'm going to be answering emails and texts and stuff like that today after the show. Today's topic, we're talking about pickup play. So typically I'm talking more about like a BDSM context, and I'll explain. Um, just prior to my show, if you caught it, the Many Loves Lunch Hour with Mandy Conant on Split Radio, you should totally catch that. It's the hour before mine on Mondays, and she typically talks about ethical non-monogamy, and she discussed hookups. Um, so that was more of like a sexual connotation, more of a muggle situation, I suppose. Whereas today's topic of pickup play, which was actually requested by some viewers. So yes, if you have any requests for topics, please let me know. I'm here for you. Is specifically pickup play more in a BDSM context. So yeah, just before the show, Mandy was like, she thought pickup play was, it sounded like you're role playing uh, um, a pickup scenario. That sounds a little bit more like role play or cuckolding kind of thing. Oh, Brandon came here. I was running out of time. You know, I like my tea. I need my tea in the morning, and this is my second cup. And he had to. I put the kettle on boil. Well, you're gonna fill it up for me. Look at this service. Thank you. That is not our dynamic, but I mean, is it?
We help each other.
We help each other. We're co-parents. Thank you so much. To get my extra hot water for my tea, I use 2 tea bags. Double tea bagging it like a good old slut. So, anyways, yeah. So, what Mandy was kind of thinking of the role play scenario. Thank you of the role play scenario. Um, that's not pickup play. That's that could be a form of cuckolding or role play scenarios. When I say pickup play in a BDSM context, typically I mean you're playing with someone new, um, and you have a fairly short amount of negotiation time. You know what I mean? Like you've met someone at an event, and it happens, you have a major connection with somebody, and you're like, well, I want to play with you. Um, and so BDSM play, I do talk a lot about like negotiation, making sure that you covered your bases, you know what's okay, what's not okay, what you're interested in, and going forward. And it's tough to do it with a short amount of time. Um, yeah, it's interesting because I used to teach. I say used to, I mean pre-COVID, a negotiation workshop, and it's kind of all over the place in some ways now because I'm like, is this a what are you negotiating for? Are you negotiating for like a certain relationship dynamic? Are we talking a 24/7 dynamic? Are we talking just play for right now? Like what are we discussing? And so with pickup play, typically your time is quite limited. It's like right now, and it may continue, it may not. Um, it's pickup play is kind of like the hookup again of BDSM. So like it could turn into something else, but I don't think you go into it with that intention. Either way, I define pickup play as like you've just met this person, you don't know a lot about them, you want to play like now, like this day. Um, and so you do got to be careful, obviously, just like with any hookup, there's safety concerns. When I think pickup play, I typically think like at an event or at a party or something like that, because I can't really see how you would do. I guess you could do pickup play if it's like an online thing. Um, let's I'm going to say if it's an event, unless throw it in the comments, your stories or your questions, whatever you like. All is welcome here, totally safe space, no judgments. Um, so there have been situations, yeah, where I've most of my personal experiences with pickup play has been at events when I'm traveling, right? And so this is a place I've probably never been or don't go to frequently, so I don't know a lot of people. And I've connected with somebody. We're talking pickup play if you want to join. Yeah, he's coming over. And um, I was defining pickup play as basically like you've just met them. It's short amount of time for negotiation. You want to play that evening. Um, and in my personal experience, it's usually been when I'm traveling. I have to tell you, one of the best things I've ever heard in my entire life was somebody came up to me, not at the party, it was like during the weekend. It was like a Saturday during the day, and I think we were in the vendor's room, and someone came up to me and was like, "I know you don't know me. I saw your workshop, and you can say no, of course, there's no pressure. I just want you to know that I would really like to have sex with you if you're interested." And I was like, that is the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. And we ended up doing pickup play. Um, but of course, again, it was like that evening, and if we were busy, it was like, okay, we'll meet tonight for a quick whatever. So I say if you're at an event or a party, there's often going to be music. I try to find somewhere that you can actually talk, if that's just outside for a smoke or if that's like going to an area or something like that to talk. What's your first kind of approach with pickup play? I know
I
you do
don't
some pickup play.
really.
You do pickup play.
Not really. Mostly just from lack of opportunity. Because I'm an introverted white man, so
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of people approaching me to play,
Mm.
and I don't put myself out there as much as I would maybe like.
That's fair. I will say that, and I know this is why some people get into presenting.
Hmm.
You already know what I'm going to say. The visibility you have as a presenter
And the
is people, since I started presenting, and when I present, if I go somewhere and I present a workshop, I'm way more likely to have people approach me and ask for play than if I just go to an event.
It's also a position of authority to a certain degree. I mean, like, you have this conference that's basically vetted you and said that you're a reasonable person to listen to about play, and then they go to your workshop and they're like, I like the things that they say.
Yeah.
So it kind of puts you on a pedestal and stuff.
It's a form of advertising without that being my intention. But yeah, that's a good point. I've clearly been vetted by the organization that has me. Sorry, it's spring break. The kids are home. So how do you do this? But yeah, that's actually, he makes a really good point. He's not one to get a lot of opportunities for pickup play because he is a lot more shy and introverted. He's a lot less likely to approach somebody. I'm sorry, the children running in the background. Um, and I do have a lot of visibility because of what I do. And I'm usually speaking somewhere, or maybe someone has seen me somewhere. I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, I'm so no, I'm not so famous. But there are more people are going to know me than know him just due to what I do. And especially if I'm presenting at the event, people are more likely to come up to me and ask for play. So that's fair. Um, and yes, there are presenters that totally get into that just to, yeah, not for the greatest reasons. Um, excuse me. So, short amount of time, that's just it. And you have to be careful. I feel like you need to ask the right questions and get the right things covered. And it's going to vary depending on your style of play, your your boundaries. If you have any mental health concerns or triggers, please bring those up, because it can be the most random thing. Um, I'll share with you. I engaged in pickup play with someone, and it was, yeah, at a conference. Didn't really know them, and I was like, "Oh, you're super attractive and really sweet. I like our energy. Yeah, we'll play." And their partner was like, "Can I be there?" And I was like, "Yes, please. That's actually a really great idea." Because this is what happened. We talked, we negotiated, and I brought it up. I said, "Any, triggers, anything I should know about?" And they were like, "Yeah, no, it's all good." But what ended up happening, at one point, Brendan, people are gonna want to see your face. I'm gonna want to see your face. Okay, because I don't know if I told you about this. So we started playing, and their partner was there just watching, and which I was really, really glad that happened, because what ended up happening was, the person I was topping was crying, and we'd negotiated, and that was totally fine. And I started licking their tears, like as you do. I love when people cry, because I started like licking the tears off their face, and they kind of froze for a second, and I stopped, like, is something okay? And their partner was like, licking tears off their face is like a specific trigger. How the fuck am I supposed to know that? And I know I don't want to be like it's their fault, but, and like, to my credit, I did ask if they had any triggers, and but the person was fine. This is the most important thing. The person was fine. They kind of froze for a second, and their partner was like, "This is kind of a specific trigger," and I was like, "Oh my God!" But in my head, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And but
The
they,
one thing.
like, the one thing, and but the person I was topping was laughing and was like, "It's okay, just please don't do it again." But it's actually okay, and we all had a good laugh, because then the partner's partner was like, "You really should have mentioned." And they were like, "I didn't think anyone else would want to lick tears off my face." And I'm over here like, "You don't want to lick tears off someone's face? Isn't that what you do
No,
when someone starts crying?"
that's not what I do.
That's what I do. I immediately want to lick the tears off their face. Person was totally fine, and we all had a good laugh about it, and I checked it after that. It was fine. And it was just like, they were like, it was, honestly, I didn't react super strongly. I didn't have a strong trigger because I was just so shocked. And I'm like, "You were?" So it was all fine. But I do like, that's the thing when you do negotiation for pickup play, sometimes certain things are going to come up. You can't discuss everything.
You're gonna miss stuff. There's no way you can go into a full detailed medical history and
Mhm.
past triggers and
Yep.
like what are the chances that that's gonna come up, right? Like
Yeah.
just
So I might not even recommend pickup play for those that maybe have a lot of needs or do need to sit down and give you like a ton of information, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, like I don't do a lot of pickup play because a lot of what I need is to feel secure in my position as a top. I need permission to do the things that I want to do, and so like it requires a little bit more communication a lot of the time. I don't like playing in gray areas very much.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't typically do anything super advanced, I should say, or like super edgy unless I really know the person. I'm trying to think.
But your definition of edgy changes
It's pretty
depending on who you are, right?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, licking tears isn't necessarily edgy, except that person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so.
It's really funny. Yeah, someone just commented, oops, hidden triggers are landmines. And that's true. We were really lucky that they didn't have a strong reaction. But known triggers need to be shared. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. And but also, again, like, you there's a reasonable assumption that like certain things just aren't necessarily going to come up, right? Like,
well, and they were like, I didn't think you'd lick my tears.
I didn't think I was going to cry. I didn't think you'd lick them off my face, and I didn't know I'd react that strongly to it.
Yeah.
Like, so like she knew it was an issue, but she didn't think it was going to come up necessarily, right? I'm assuming. I don't know why I said she, but they.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the thing when you negotiate. If you are going to be doing pickup play, know what kind of information you need to be sharing. My triggers are typically not kink related, but I will bring them up if I'm playing with someone very masculine or a man, because they're typically my triggers are typically around men. I don't react to femmes or female folks as much, but even then they're not likely to happen. I'll still bring it up and I'll be like, hey, this is actually kind of a trigger of mine, and then they're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I know, but I want you to know that just in case.
Just in case it accidentally comes out.
Because you never know. Thank you for sharing. But yeah, trigger. What do you talk about in pickup play? I definitely will bring up like triggers. Actually, the biggest, and this is, I really feel strongly about phrasing it this way. And if you have a better way to phrase it or a way that you like to phrase it, please share in the comments. Because mine has changed how I phrase it over the years. This is how I phrase it today. Are you able to communicate if you need to stop? Instead of asking like, what are your safe words, what are blah blah blah, it's, can you communicate? Are you able to communicate if you need to stop?
Yeah, some people can, some people can't.
Some people can and some people can't, and it's okay if you can't. It's information that's really valuable.
Yeah, I don't know, most of my negotiation usually focuses on like the positive, like what do you want, what are you looking for, what sensations are you like
for sure. Yeah,
craving and stuff.
You know what, that's a good point. Because, starting with what you're looking for is the first thing I do, so let's do that.
So like, because I mean, especially with more pickup play oriented scenes or whatever, you're only playing the once, or this is the first time anyways, probably. So
in a
like,
pickup play situation, yeah.
So like, like if you talk specifically about like, what are some of the things that you would like to do? What do you want to get out of it? What do you want to feel? Like that kind of stuff. And then like the more negative stuff, like the triggers and that kind of stuff, is not as necessary to communicate because like, if I'm not looking to cry, I don't have to talk about licking tears, for example. Right? Like, so it's more focused on like the positive aspects of what are you looking for.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think the first thing to go to is important too, it is important to ask about triggers because people have them, and again, you never know what they're going to be. Here we go. Comment that I'm just going to stick up here. I'm looking forward to this topic because I'm trying to negotiate pickup play again, but I haven't done it in a few years. Yeah, it's intimidating, and I want to play in bottom so badly. I feel that. Okay, so yeah, that is the first thing. And if someone, this is again personal experience, if someone approaches me and is like, hey, I really want you to spank me,
Yeah.
then I would be like, okay, what is it you get out of spanking, or what do you want to get out of it?
Yeah, because
Intent.
you can spank as like corporal punishment. You can spank for arousal. You can spank for bruising. You can like there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do um, as your goal. But I will say um, negotiating for pickup play from the bottom's perspective can be really intimidating because there's a lot of really pushy people out there. So I would say make sure that the person that you're negotiating with is actually listening to you and is going to like, because there are some alpha E types that have a tendency to run over people or not listen or just push, and they don't necessarily like hearing no or care about your boundaries. So make sure that like the person you're negotiating with is listening to those things and agreeing to them before you play, because you can weed out the worst of them by
I try really hard to negotiate in as neutral of a space as possible.
Yeah, you don't want to have a DS dynamic during your negotiations.
So yeah, especially if you're bottoming or you're a bottom, yeah, suggest that you go outside, suggest that you go into a quieter eating area, a lobby or something like that, and discuss just as human beings as you would.
Yeah.
And if they're treating you like you're like you're already playing, I'm out.
Yeah.
It needs to be as neutral as possible.
Even people in like 24/7 relationships have like periods of time where they put their DS dynamic aside so that they can communicate their boundaries and their needs and you know those things outside of a DS dynamic, because you need to be on even on an even playing field when you're negotiating things. Like you can't already be the bottom. You can't already be submissive. You can't already be a slave in the situation and negotiate effectively. And like the same is true from a top perspective. Like if you have too much power in the negotiation, you can easily, on purpose or even by accident, push through people's boundaries and stuff. If you're already in a DS dynamic, you can. It's pretty easy to push people. So it's really important.
Yeah, that's a good point when you switch it from the top's perspective. And I do both, but I do get approached more to play as a top because I present more as a top. I get a lot of like, well, no, just like whatever you want to do. It's totally fine. Like I don't have any limits. Whatever you want. I might try to be like, okay, I need to, I know I need a little bit more information. I know bottoms can, everyone can, but I do find bottoms, to generalize, can speak very passively and just want to serve. And I'm like, that's really great. But like, again, we need to be speaking not as top and bottom right now. What is it that interests you? Is there something you saw me do or discuss that you're really interested in? Is there something you haven't done in a long time that you want to do? I got another comment here. I've been watching a top play and like the way they play. They look skilled. They come with references from people I trust and give me honest advice. See, so if someone came to me and said that, I've like literally just switching that up. I've been watching you play and I like the way you play. You look skilled. You come with references from people I trust to give me honest advice. That's amazing. I'm like, cool. That's great. Let's have a conversation. That's good stuff. Oh, someone said, I don't bottom for complete strangers. I need someone I know to know them. Harder in a pickup play situation. You might not know somebody, but that's a boundary that is completely valid. If you're like, no, I need to know somebody, that's good to know about yourself.
Yeah, it can be hard to vet someone in the moment or whatever, but like at a party, you can't just necessarily walk around and just be like, "Do you know this person?" Like,
yeah,
like it can be harder, but
and I will say I am a lot more likely to top somebody that I don't know than to bottom to somebody I don't know. But that's my personal
but
preference.
You're also a top heavy.
But I'm also I'm more of a top heavy person anyways. I'm incredibly picky as a bottom. But yeah, because I'm open to doing a lot as a top. So the things I want to know right off the bat, especially when you have a short amount of time. Yeah. Oh, what are you mentioned like the spanking. What are you interested in doing? and what do you get out of that? I really like the phrase, how do you want to feel? Because that could say a lot. Are you wanting to feel humiliated? Or are you wanting to feel safe? Are you wanting to feel like you're a good girl? You know, because I also actually, I really do, in a quick situation, I like asking something like that. Like, do you like being told that you're a good girl? That can give you, or a good boy, whatever. That can give you whatever your pronouns are, whatever you want to use.
What a good doll.
What
Whatever it
words,
is.
yeah, what words do you like? And because I honestly, asking that question, like, hey, so do you like being told that you're a good girl? We'll get a ton of information because you, sorry, the monsters. Excuse me. Um, I will get a very telling response typically to that question. If someone is like, oh my God, yes. Okay, that tells me this is a person that wants to be told they're doing a good job. They want to be told they're pleasing their top. Um, they want to feel validated. They want to, like you can read a lot from some of those questions. And if they're like, oh, maybe they're really bratty. It's getting a really big feel for how you want to feel, what the dynamic might feel like, what motivates this person. Are they reward motivated? Are they, motivated by punishment, humiliation? How do you want to feel? And yeah, this was what I was getting to. Perfect. What do you want to get out of this scene? What do you want to get out of it? How do you want to feel? Um, and then again, we're looking at short amount of time. I will definitely cover words for parts. Are there any words you really, really like? And any words that are off limits? Um, discuss if this is a sexual scene. Because BDSM can be very sexual or not sexual at all. So really, I always bring up some form of, I just use the word sexual. Is this sexual for you? Because yeah, some people want to be tied up and want nothing to do sexually, touching, kissing, no. Or some people, it's like super turns them on and they want all that. So you don't have to be like, are we gonna have sex? You could just be like, is this sexual for you? And that should open up the conversation of what's okay and what's not. Words for parts. I just use that phrase. Words for parts. Anything you really, really like, anything you really, really don't like. The kids are getting crazy. I'm sorry. Spring break and they're bonkers. What are some things you also, really like? I love this comment here. I like being asked what I want out of this scene. Yeah, what do you want to get out of the scene? And how do you want to feel? Safe, humiliated, slutty, wanted, scared? Here we go. Comment. I share, I am sassy and I giggle when I bottom. Not all tops want that. That is a lot of information. That's great. Thank you for sharing this. And this is what's really, it takes practice, I guess. It takes insight and experience, I think, to really do some pickup play. Says, I'm sassy and I giggle when I bottom. That is a lot of information. And yeah, not all tops want that. I love sassy bottoms. I love giggling. I love being silly. And just to kind of put that out there for somebody during a pickup play discussion and negotiation is a lot of information and is really helpful. What can you share about yourself? What are you looking for? What do you want to get out of this scene? How do you want to feel? What words do you use? And I will bring up, of course, are you able to say that you need to stop? And that conversation can definitely go. What else? Triggers, and I'll just say triggers, any health conditions, mental or physical, that I should be aware of. Because obviously I'm not going to ask for their medical file. That's not necessarily any of your business or anyone else's. So I like to phrase it in a way that is anything like that is relevant to this, any mental or physical health situations that I should be aware of or that I should know about. And yes, and here comes Peter. Hi, Peter. Aftercare is a part of negotiation too. And then that's also probably one of the last things I tend to discuss too. And aftercare, afterwards. What does that look like for you? The first thing I do when negotiating is I will share as a top again what I need. And I'll just say it now so you can get an idea of why I say it first. I'll say, so as a top, I do have some aftercare needs. It can be cuddling, doesn't have to be. It can be whatever. It can be just sitting and talking. The only thing I need is I, as a top, need to stick around long enough to know that you don't hate me and that you're okay. Because, and this has happened where I've done a scene as a top and then we had to leave right away and no aftercare. And I just started snowballing with, I think I pushed too hard. Maybe I was XYZ and I start running over things and start thinking about how I'm such a horrible person. And that I was too mean or too horrible and that maybe I violated somebody and it snowballs. So I've learned as a top, it doesn't matter what we're doing, but I really do need to stick around long enough to know that you're okay, that you don't hate me, that like we're good. And then usually the person will be like, that's totally cool. This is what I would like to do during that time, whether it is cuddling or coloring or just honestly, and I've done this, we'll just sit at the table and talk if they are not like a cuddly person and until they kind of come down from the high a little bit and can reassure me that they're fine. Thoughts on aftercare?
No.
How do you typically discuss aftercare in a shorter negotiation situation?
Just basically say what are your aftercare needs.
What are your aftercare needs? Do you have aftercare needs?
Um, I mean, it depends on the scene we're looking for, but with pickup play, I'm probably not doing anything too intense, so
Okay.
probably don't need anything.
Okay. That's exactly how you would say it too. I got another comment here. I outline where on my body they can hit. That's perfect. A good one is to ask about marks.
Yeah.
Are marks okay?
Yeah.
Um, and if so, where is that? Like some people are like, if I can cover it with regular work clothes, then I'm good.
Marks are okay as long as they stay on my ass.
Or yeah, maybe just the ass, or just anywhere but the face, or something like that. My limits in terms of marks, I don't really give a shit. I'm okay with even long term marks as long as it's not neck and up. I'm okay with short term marks on my face, like if it's redness or maybe a little bruise or something like that. But no long term marks like scars. And then
or temporary scars.
short
Yeah, I know.
term, you know what I mean?
I know, but just like stuff like temporary branding or temporary, like it's not temporary. Like it doesn't heal on everybody.
Yeah, a lot of people have kind of changed phrasing in the community too, away from temporary and permanent as opposed to like long term or short term, because you can't know. That's the shitty thing sometimes about marks, is that you can't really make super guarantees.
Yeah.
I will say though, and this is what I've said because I used to work as a pro dom and I would get a lot of no marks, which is a little bit frustrating when they're like, I want to be caned, but no marks. I'll be like, I might have to get a little bit more creative on different ways to hurt you
Also,
without
like
leaving
you can
marks,
never
but
fully guarantee no marks.
that's
Like
what I was gonna say.
different people react differently to different things. You can never know. Like you flog someone and you
Mm-hmm.
do a perfect warm up and everything's fine, and then the next day they're covered in purple. Like
Yeah,
and you're like, I didn't do anything.
but you did.
But I mean, we did, but nothing like.
Um,
Yeah, I'm usually a pretty good judge, but every once in a while you just
everyone,
get
yeah,
someone that just marks.
everyone marks differently, and even on different parts of their body. Um, what I have said as a pro dom is, I'll be like, I cannot like 100% guarantee no marks. Having said that, in a pro dom situation, I've never marked somebody that specifically asked for no marks. We've gotten close because you have to be really, really perceptive and really pay attention on whether or not someone is likely to get marked. See how their skin reacts right away. And if you start seeing any of those little purple dots, you're like, okay, I either have to move somewhere else or just stop. The little purple dots that kind of might start looking like freckles. If those start popping, then you're like, no, 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 you got to stop because otherwise you're going to bruise. So yeah, I'm always like, having said that, I've never really marked somebody I didn't intend on marking, but I'm not going to make 100% guarantee because it's almost impossible to do that.
Yeah, I'm usually a really good judge of whether or not something I'm doing is going to matter.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, just some people. Wow.
Yeah, I got a comment here. Says, I prefer inclusive negotiations versus exclusive negotiations in pickup play. Do you want to elaborate?
That's kind of what I was saying earlier when I was basically, because you were talking a lot about like
what
asking
not
about
to do.
triggers and like all that stuff, and I usually come from the perspective of like, what are you looking for and what do you want and where can I hit you and that kind of stuff. It's obviously important to still ask a couple of those questions, like, do you have triggers that might
I do both.
to the scene we're going to play? Do you have medical conditions that might pertain to the scene we're going to do? Like, so it can be specific to what you're doing, but it is important to still ask a couple of those questions, even if you are primarily focusing on the inclusive.
Yeah, I do both, honestly, because as much as I would love to just do inclusive, it is important to know some of the things like major boundaries or triggers or and I'll just kind of phrase it as any physical or mental concerns that I should be aware of. When someone mentioned I outline on my body where they can hit, if they have like maybe a bad knee or bad shoulder or something like that, I will ask if I can mark them with a Sharpie.
You should put a Crayola washable in your plate.
Or yeah, I should have a more easily washed off thing.
You could get like one of those like 6-packs of just like Crayola washable ones, and you could do different colors. Draw little,
that might take up too much time. I'll get excited.
Draw little like fuzzy animals on the parts that you're not supposed
to
hit.
No, I'll get too into it.
On the area that you're supposed to aim for.
I would spend an hour doing that and then be like, oops, we're out of time. But no, I might take like a marker and put some form of mark on a bad shoulder or a bad knee, because depending on what we're doing, if we're grappling, I'm not going to remember which knee is the one to look out for. So I might put like a mark on it if that's okay.
You should probably not be grappling.
Yeah, I know, right? That's fair. You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean. That's just
just
as an example. Those are a lot of the basic things I can think of in terms of what to negotiate. While you were gone, I mentioned bringing up whether or not this is sexual for a person is really important, because some things are super sexual, some are not. And it's not appropriate to introduce sex if that hasn't been discussed.
For sure, that falls under the category of what do you get out of this?
Yeah, what do you get out of this?
What are you looking to get?
I might just be like, is this sexual for you? Yeah. Everything is sexual for me. But it doesn't have to be. If you're not interested, then we can totally play without anything sexual. As long as you're okay with the fact that it will turn me on, but like I could be I don't want to say professional. I can be professional about it. The cat's been in the background the whole time.
Yeah. The thing can turn you on without you making it their problem.
Yeah. As long as you're comfortable with that.
Yeah. For me, I usually say something along the lines of like, ideally, I would like this to turn you on.
Right.
Like we don't have to do anything sexual, but I get a lot more out of play if it does turn you on. That's something that I would like to have happen during the scene. But
are you wearing your retainer?
Because I'm going to bed soon.
Your night guard. He's wearing his. Why are you wearing your night guard?
Because I'm going to bed.
Okay.
So I put it on when I was in the bathroom.
Sounds good. I don't know if you can hear the children from here. I know I can. Please don't go to bed until the show's over, because I guarantee you children are going to come barging in here. What do y'all want to know? Do you have any questions? Here we go. I got some stuff in the chat here, because I feel like I covered most of it. Here we go. In pickup play, I ask for only a few things like spanking, flogging, and canes. I'm very specific with someone new to me. That's good. That's awesome. That's really good. Someone says, I don't overcomplicate pickup play by asking too much from someone new to me. It depends what you're planning on doing, right? Like, again, if it's spanking, I feel like, you know what? Let's like do like a quick negotiation.
It really does depend on the type of play, because like I know someone that teaches like classes on edge play and stuff, and people will be like, I want to do that with you, and they're like, okay, we have to get into some things as part of the
Right. If
negotiation.
someone wants to do super advanced or edgy things
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have any experience, I'm open to it, but it's not going to be a pickup play scenario. I'm not going to just dive into heavy stuff right after meeting you one time and then leave.
Yeah.
But those are my boundaries.
That's what makes you feel safe.
It doesn't have to be super complicated. I don't think what we covered is super complicated. What do you want to do? What do you want to get out of it? How do you want to feel? Is this sexual for you? Aftercare? Is there anything are you able to say if you need to stop? Any physical, emotional, mental health concerns I should be aware of that are relevant? I don't think that's complicated. It can be if it's like a lot, but I mean,
yeah, it depends on the answer too.
and it depends on the answers because it might be like that. The answers might be quick as well.
Yeah, the answer could be no, or it could be this laundry
Yeah.
list of things.
I
So.
feel like the shortest negotiation I've done was, yeah, you can do that in easily less than 5 minutes. Easy.
Yeah, if you already have an idea of what you want the scene to be, for sure.
If it's super simple, like, and the time that it was super short, it was spanking.
Yeah. Or
We were like, all it was spanking, and it was like, it took less than 5 minutes for sure.
Yeah, or if they just want to get flogged, or they just want to get like tied up so that they can feel bound, like some of the more straightforward scenes, it doesn't take very long to negotiate that. Like, you need to know, how they want to feel, because it will change how you do the thing you're doing. And if there's any reason why you should be concerned with their body or anything like that doing it. So,
outside of pickup play, there's definitely like what Brendan and I are talking about. I don't think is very complicated. You want to go complicated? There's like questionnaires and lists and
yeah, but all that stuff's like.
But that's not for pickup play. Yeah.
The entire spectrum of what you're
interested
in.
That's
Whereas
not pickup
play. You're picking up for a scene, not to have access to everything that they want, right?
I'm gonna go. Oh my god, I love this. I love this. I love this. I need to do this now. Comment. I like to go through a Tops toy bag and choose some implements to use on me. That's fun. I think I've had someone do that to me before, where they like put out like maybe 5 toys and was like, pick 2.
It's really a really fun way to do this too is, if you have really weird things in your toy bag, you can put like those out and then let them pick like a couple things, and they're like, I don't know how this is gonna feel, and you're like, ha ha ha.
That's awesome. I need to do that. That's really fun. Thank you so much for that comment. And we got another comment. Pain makes me come, and I ask the top if this is okay. Yeah, that is part of that would come up in the negotiation that I discussed when I said, is play sexual for you? Or is this what we're talking about doing? Is this sexual for you? And that would be the response. Yes, pain makes me like sexually aroused. It gives me sexual pleasure, it gives me orgasms. And that's why it is important to ask, is this sexual for you, or is it okay if this is sexual? Because you're right. If you are a bottom and something makes you have an orgasm and that wasn't discussed, that could be really violating for the top, who really doesn't want, who's like, I wasn't trying to give you an orgasm and now I'm really uncomfortable. So yeah, thank you. That's important to bring up. That is part of the is this sexual for you part of the conversation. Um, because yeah, that could happen to top as well. Or what if the top has an orgasm and the bottom was not prepared for that? That can be really upsetting. It can be really violating. It is a violation, I think. Um, yeah, like if you walk up to somebody and you are like, "Hey, yeah, can we hug?" and you hug and then you come while hugging, like that is a violation. They would did not agree to that. Um, so just a way to make it, yeah, less complicated is just to say, and you could just say, like you said, pain makes me come, and I asked the top if that's okay. That's a great question. During the negotiation, it would have been, "Hey, is this sexual for you?" And that's how that would come up. Or you could just say, "Pain makes me come," and ask the top if that's okay. And I would say, I would probably be like, yeah, that's okay. And depending on the mood or the scene, how things are wanting to feel, here's a question, and this can be a part of as things get elaborated. Are you asking for permission during the scene? Are you allowed to have an orgasm without permission? Is that a dynamic that you want to have with your top? Okay, fun story. I'm not gonna say who it was. Um, oh, hey, wait. You're not going to bed after the show, please. This is the children. Okay. Someone commented, pain makes me come, and I asked the top if this is okay. And I was like, yeah, that's part of the, is this sexual for you? And I was about to share a little story. I'm not going to say who it was. You'll know, probably, just by saying this. I was bottoming to somebody. That already narrows it down a lot. I was bottoming to someone, and I was like, oh, you already know what story this is? And I was like, um, we knew it was sexual and that I am a masochist because I'm with you. Pain will give I will have an orgasm from pain alone. And I mentioned that and was like, should I be asking for permission before having an orgasm? And the top was like, are there people that don't? Like legit. She was like, in any relationship, any dynamic, she was like, I legit thought everyone asked for permission before having an orgasm. It's like, no, like that is actually kind of specifically a kinky thing, and not even all kinky people do that. But she was like, she was really struggling with that. She's like, yeah, everyone asks. And I'm like, no.
Everyone asks you
Everyone asks you, maybe,
because you are who you are.
because you are who you are. A lot of you watching will probably know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say. Uh, Another comment, I love to ask for permission for my top to come during a scene. Yeah, so that's something like that came up in the negotiation with this person who is like, yes, obviously. People don't ask. Are there people in relationships that don't ask for an orgasm?
This is pickup play. Yes, you should ask.
Yeah. And it's hot, but that's not something everyone does. Okay. If you're listening, no, not everyone does that. And it's adorable that you think everyone does. But yeah, so everyone is different, and that's just it. It's hot to ask for permission, and some people, yeah. Um, there are times as a top that I like to just let them over and over and over again, and a lot of tops have told me I'm too nice, and I'm like, that's actually kind of a kink of mine, though. I like it's almost a pride thing. Like I'm making them come over and over and over again. And I love seeing the puddle that people can turn into, the just pile of mush that they can turn into after so many orgasms that they're just like maybe not the sexiest sound, but truly I love seeing the absolute pile of mush that someone can be after like a million orgasms. So that's something that I get off on. And so there are a lot of tops that don't want to let people have orgasms. And hear me out, there are a lot of bottoms that want to be denied. Orgasm control and denial is a really, really big kink. And so I have played with bottoms that are like disappointed that I'm going to let them come a bunch. So that's just a fun little thing. Everyone is different. And they'll be like, I want you to deny me more. And I mean, I can. I'm not as good as like this guy. You want denial? Like, there are people that are really, really into denial. I'll have fun denying you a little bit, but I'm not particularly big on like long-term denial. I can do it. I have done it. Um, it doesn't quite satisfy me as much, and I feel like I might be a little too nice sometimes. I'm like, I said no twice. That's enough, right? And then they're like disappointed that I let them come. I'm like, oh, how long am I supposed to let you go? And they're like, more than asking twice. I'm like, oh, okay. We're all different, and maybe that's something I got to work on. I need a patient, maybe wanting denial bottom. I don't know. I don't know. Got another comment here. I had a top do the same when I asked if I needed permission to come, and I got laughed at because, of course, I needed permission. Okay, thank you. You're not the only one. Yeah, there are so many people that are like, obviously, you need permission. You don't just come without asking. But for some people, sometimes. I wonder if it's the same person. That'd be really funny. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do have some quick news to share, in that I will not be here next week, for Monday. I'm actually due to spring break. I'm going to travel. I'm like nervous. Um, we have a family. Well, I don't have it. It's a family thing. I don't own it, but I am part of the family. Family cabin that is just across the border in the U.S. So we're gonna drive across the border and stay at the cabin for a little bit during spring break. So I'm not gonna be here. Um, yeah, I will not be here. I will be in the States, and I'm going to be at a cabin where I don't really have the connection to do the show and to live stream it. So I'm not going to be here. I will be back the week prior after. So if you have any um, topics, requests, please let me know. I'm not going to be here on Monday. Sorry, y'all. Mandy will still be here. Orgasm games are fun. Edging, denial, coming on demand, and forced orgasms. All of those things. Yes. I love orgasms. Play is totally fun. You can get creative. Agreed. But I do got to go. So I'm not going to be here. If you have any requests, please let me know. But I will not be here next Monday. I will be here the Monday after that. Also, I need to let you know. I got to put this up. Where is it? Where is it? I don't see it. That's okay. Oh, here to. I got to mention real quick. AdamandEve.com has all of the toys. Tons and tons of toys, accessories, all of the sex accessories. Ooh, say that 5 times fast. Accessories that you need. Um, use SWR as a promo code and you'll get 50 as in half off of almost any one item. Few items you'll get like 35% off, but almost all of them you'll get 50% off, plus free shipping in US and Canada. You got to go check that out. And thank you so much for watching and for commenting and all of that stuff. This episode, like that's being recorded live right now, is going to air tonight again at 7 p.m. PST. And that's, what is that, 10 p.m. EST? And it will be available on my YouTube channel forever. It just becomes an episode. So if you ever want to catch that, that's where it'll be. And thanks all for watching. And take care of yourselves. Enjoy your spring break. Stay safe. Love y'all. Mwah. Bye.
Butt plugs, dildos, polyam. The loose smith is a total sham. And should I say